crisis of confidence in government. Secret Service, ISIS, Ebola, Hong Kong, you name it, there's a crisis of belief in the government can perform and do anything right. Guess who's here? Judge Andrew Napolitano, who never thinks government should do anything and can't believe that it can do anything right anyway. Am I correct with that?
Well, it's a bit of an exaggeration,
No,
but an interesting summary. Listen, I have had much exposure to an interaction with the Secret Service in my work in and out of the government. And I'm really surprised at the revelations of incompetence, because the Secret Service agents with whom I have had interactions strike me as consummate professionals, selfless individuals who quite figuratively and literally would take a bullet for the president or anyone in their charge. They protect a vast array of people in addition to the president. But what has come out lately is unacceptable and even unforgivable. And I would suggest, not that the military protects the president. My God, the White House will look like the Kremlin if it's surrounded by the military. But entirely new leadership from outside the agency. I would not promote somebody from within. I would bring in a new culture from outside of me. These things just, it's mind-boggling how they could have happened. Remember the crazy... remember Nelson Mandela's funeral?
Oh, yes.
And the crazy sign language guy, which I say crazy because he was crazy and he was uttering gibberish. It wasn't legitimate signing. He was within 2 feet of the President of the United States. Now, we don't know what danger he posed, but it's an example of the lax attitude. Now we learn two very serious things. A, that the President was very close to an individual who could have harmed him. And B, the Secret Service doesn't always tell the truth. That is really, really damaging. They exaggerated the amount of danger that he and his family were in when this guy ran halfway through the White House. They misrepresented exactly where the guy was. And he was tackled by an off-duty Secret Service agent who was conducting a tour of the White House for his friends, who probably ordinarily wouldn't have even been there.
It's a shock. How about this? Lots of unanswered questions on Ebola. We do not know the name of the patient who's now being treated in Dallas. We don't know the airline that person came in on, and we don't know the flight number. Do we have a right to know these things?
We absolutely do. I don't know that we have a right to know this person got here, and to the extent we can, what kind of a danger they pose. If this causes loss in shareholder confidence in this particular airline, or if this causes people not to fly the airline, guess what? We have the right to make those choices ourselves, whether we act out of fear or reason, and the government does not have the right to keep that from us.
But the government is telling us that there is no danger, that he was not suffering from the symptoms when he was on the flight.
Oh, then tell us what the flight was and let us make our own choices.
I'm with you.
We're going to trust the same government that can't protect the president? We know it can't deliver the mail and can't fill potholes. Now we know it can't protect the president, and it can't stop Ebola.
But that is the crisis of confidence in the government's performance. If they do so much and they don't do much of it very well, you've got a crisis. But
you're starting to sound like Ron Paul.
Incredible. Listen to this one. I want to know where you stand on this one. A new California law, family members and law enforcement officers can now ask a judge to seize guns from someone they suspect may pose a danger to themselves or others.
Only a crackpot like Governor Brown would have signed something like that into
hold on a minute, Judge. Hold on. I know where you stand.
The motivation behind this is the same as the president's. Do everything you can under the Constitution to make it difficult for people to own guns. Don't violate what the Supreme Court says the Second Amendment means, but do everything right up to the line. And this is one of those.
Look at this in practice. We could surely have stopped some of the mass killings which America has seen over the past few years if the law enforcement authorities had the power to take the guns away from people who are clearly posing a danger to society.
I would look at it this way. We could stop the mass killings in the United States of America if the victims had been armed. They would have blown away the mass killer before he could become a mass killer.
Don't you think that it would be worthwhile stopping a mass killing even just once if we went and did this?
You presume that a crazy person determined to kill will stop when the guns are taken away from him. The only way to stop a crazy person determined to kill is to shoot the person.
No, you take away opportunity from them for shooting a
all
large number of
you'll
people.
do is delay the inevitable. When the public is armed, the crazy people will stop shooting because they'll be dead.
That is not necessarily true.
I'll give you the last word. It's your show.
I repeat, that is not necessarily true. But always good, Judge, these are fascinating subjects.
These are, and I'm privileged to be able to interact with you about them.
Privileged?
Well, I get paid for it, but it's a privilege.
Thank you, Judge. Right. Thank you, sir. Okay. Yeah.